Good Wednesday morning. You had the play-in start for and end for the Nets last night as they beat the Cavaliers and move on to face the Boston Celtics. Kyrie and KD going off in this game and, of course, showing everybody why they're still so dangerous. Cavaliers really didn't have a chance from the get-go in this one. And a couple of shutouts with the Mets and Yankees. I know you're not happy about your hockey team, but maybe the Tyler McGill story will cheer you up a little bit this morning. It's a jam-packed Hump Day show on the Fan. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jay. Not overly happy with last night's performance, but, a couple missed open shots, couple posts here and there. Things go differently, and you end up winning the game. But Chris Kreider did get his 50th goal, so that was nice to see at the end of the game. But Tyler McGill seems to be an emerging story here for the New York Mets. Two back-to-back really, really good performances against division rivals in their buildings. And, that's the other part of this whole thing. And then, last night in the ninth inning, here comes Familia for the Philadelphia Phillies. He goes 1-2-3. And then, of course, it always has to be interesting no matter who is the closer for the Mets, whether it be Familia, whether it be Diaz, whether it be Benitez, no matter who it is.
Billy Wagner.
There always has to be some sort of infield hit, some sort of play that can't get made for whatever reason because they got the fastest catcher in baseball or whatever. But, hey, we won. That's all that matters. And it was a very, very good pitching performance, again, by Tyler McGill and, of course, the bullpen. And the same can be said for Nestor Cortez and the Yankee bullpen. I'll tell you, there was bang, 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 all three channels right in a row. And then you had to go find TNT to go see what the Nets were doing.
Yeah, not that hard.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to drill the Nets this morning, given in light what happened yesterday. I think the Nets, played unbelievable basketball last night. And from watching the amount that I did watch, which wasn't a lot, I will say that, it seemed like every time I turned on the TV, Kyrie Irving was making another shot.
Yeah, this is why you go out and get Kyrie Irving. Now, everybody has heard all the negativity. We have talked about it. There's been a lot of issues with him from Cleveland to Boston to here for, reasons he's not playing with the vaccination status. And then last year where he just disappeared for a little bit. There's been a million different things. But when he's playing like this is the reason he gets paid what he gets paid. This is the reason why you deal with all that other stuff. Because when he's on in the way that he was on last night, there are a few players in basketball that are as smooth, as exciting, as lethal as him. And they've got two of them, obviously, with Kevin Durant as well. But, he was essentially perfect in the beginning of this game. And it's just, it feels when you're a team like the Cavaliers last night, it feels impossible to stop. Now, that's going to be a different deal against the Celtics. There's no doubt about that. The Celtics have given the Nets fits this year. They're a really, really good team. They're more of a team. They've played more games together than the Nets have played. So that's going to be a fun, should be really, really good series. Even though the Cavaliers covered last night, that 9.5, they really didn't have a shot from the beginning in this thing. It was 40-20 after the first quarter. They know they creep back a little bit. And the Nets let them, have a little bit of fun last night, but they were essentially toying with him.
Kyrie missed 3 shots, and he was 50% from three-point the arc. And, that's where he missed his 3 shots. I think it was 3 for 6 there. And then, of course, Kevin Durant, when he's got to get a shot at the end of the game and he's got to make a shot at the end of the game, nobody could stop him. Nobody. And, he ices the game at the end of the game. So, given light what happened yesterday around here, and they were in Brooklyn last night, and they weren't very far from where all of this took place. All you could say is that the fans got what they wanted last night. They got the performance from their superstars, and now they'll start next Sunday at 3:30 in Boston. Will be game number 1 against the Celtics. So they are here now. They are healthy. They're going to have a bunch of days off. They'll be able to practice. They'll get ready for Boston now. And this is, even if Ben Simmons doesn't come back, I don't really care. This is who this team was supposed to be the first year the second year, not the first year because Kevin didn't play the first year, but this is who they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I would not count on Ben Simmons coming back. And I know there was a story out there where his teammates are challenging him. And one teammate who was unnamed basically said, "Go out there and do something with your life." Basically, and this was an article I read this morning, something that actually our program director Spike tweeted out. And I said, "What? Someone on the Nets said go to Ben Simmons, who's been there a month? go out and do something with your life, which is crazy to think about. So obviously there's some pressure on him to go out and perform. But I mean, what is he real? What is he? We haven't seen him in a year. I have no idea. And this back thing seemed to be a big deal. Now all of a sudden it's not. Like
I just think like watching them last night. Now they'll play much better, competition here coming up.
Yep.
But watching what I did watch last night, there's a free flow to what's going on. And I don't know, you're going to put a 6'10" point guard in the middle of it for 10 minutes a game, if in fact he can even do that, if he's even ready to do that. And that's why, I kind of listen to Steve Nash because I think Steve Nash is trying to, he's always trying to thread a needle anytime he's talking.
Yeah.
And I do think that he is trying to thread the needle with Ben Simmons, trying to give him as much space and room as he needs. And then they'll figure out the whole, whether it be the back, the mental angle, whatever it is with this guy.
But why would you add this into the mix right now when they're playing as well as they are?
That's the point.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you would do that. But you can never have enough players, and you can never have enough good players. And, we've seen before where injuries start happening, injuries start mounting, and this is one of the reasons why they brought Kyrie Irving back in the first place and allowed him to play unvaccinated away from Barclays Center and reversing their initial decision as the season started. That seems like eons ago.
I know.
But that's exactly what happened. So I don't know what's going to happen with him. All I know is that last night their stars showed up, man. Their stars showed up. Bruce Brown showed up too, and they were good offensively, that's for sure. Now,
they were good defensively too, and this is the thing that we were talking about. And this is what's so frustrating about some of these long regular seasons in all sports, but in particular the NBA, is that you feel like you don't get the full effort from the teams in the regular season. Because the way that and I know that just the nature of the playoffs is going to be ratcheted up, but you don't get that effort on defense in the regular season. So they're capable of it. I mean, Kevin Durant especially was all over the place in the beginning of this game defensively. I mean, I hadn't seen that from him the entire regular season.
Well, now he's got to do it. Essentially for them, he's got to do it 16 more times.
Yeah, which he's capable of.
Can they get? They'll be if they win the championship, they'll be the first team to have ever won 17 games to win a championship.
That's right. Yeah.
So they won this game, and now they get to sit around for 3 days, 4 days, and that's exactly what they needed. They needed some time. They need some time to practice. They need some time to get ready for Boston, go through the scouting reports, and figure all that stuff out. And this is exactly the spot why. Joe Tsai and Sean Marks, went out and got Steve Nash, went out and got Kevin Durant, and went out and got Kyrie Irving. These are now the moments that we are now in the middle of that for this team and this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, and this is exactly the way they wanted to see them play in this play-in game. I mean, there was nothing about what happened last night that makes you think that they can't make that run. Is there anything about this team as it stands here today that would make you feel like they're not capable of winning a championship? It scares me, to be honest with you, because the last thing I want to see.
Only the teams that they're playing against. That's the only thing. I mean, Boston has had a great season.
Yeah.
And so here comes the first test for them, or the second test, if you want to consider last night the first test. Here comes the first test for them, and it's probably not the best situation, but you have two superstars who are playing at the top of their game right now. And, again, this is why they were brought here. And the additions that they brought over from the 76ers, getting rid of Harden, should enable them to be able to stay with anybody in the league. If those two players played like they played last night.
Yeah.
They'll have some off nights, but now they got to go and win 16 games to get a championship. And, good luck. Here they are. They're on their run, and this is exactly why you went and got him.
I wonder if the Boston fans still despises Kyrie as much as they did a couple years ago.
Oh, this is perfect for Boston. I mean, This is like they're going to be roasting him, and they could get him for 4 games up there.
I know. I wonder if Kyrie is the type of guy who welcomes this, like he's like, man, I wanted Boston, or not. I mean, the way he's playing right now, I bet you he's probably like, let's go. I'll just torch everybody. I mean, he's playing with such confidence, it's ridiculous.
I was trying to think back to last year, and it was such a blur. Everything's been such a blur over the last 2 to 3 years. And I really couldn't, I guess it was just being in the moment and have recency bias. We often talk about that here. Like last night was like maybe one of the best games they've played together since they've been together.
The two
I know
of
they
them,
had that 16 games run with Harden, and there was that game in Philadelphia where they looked unstoppable.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, so I do remember that, obviously, about a month ago, or whatever it was, 6 to 8 weeks ago, whatever. But, last night was almost perfection from the two of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talk about, it's the age-old flip a switch situation, and we talk about how many times with good teams that struggle in the regular. Can you flip the switch? Can you flip the switch? Well, it looks like they did, especially
at least
defensively.
Last night they did. Now we'll see it against better competition. Now, there was something that did irk me last night in the Met game.
Yeah? What was
that?
I
don't know if, what are we, 5 games into this thing?
Please tell me it's Robinson Cano.
Yes, it is 100% Robinson.
Because I've had it with him, too, already.
All right, so Robinson Cano, at one point in time, was one of the best baseball players in baseball. That's why he got the big contract.
That's right, yeah.
This is also a cautionary tale for anybody who wants to give contracts for guys that are going to end up 39, 40, and 41 at the end of their contracts.
Sure.
That's why the Yankees, I think, are smart for offering Judge what they've offered him. But anyway, in the first inning, so they got Wheeler on the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
They got the bases loaded, and here comes Robinson Cano with an opportunity of a lifetime just to blow the game open and get Wheeler out of the game. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, bases are loaded, and I played baseball and I cover baseball.
Sure.
And I love baseball.
Right.
And I'm thinking, man, I am going to be locked and loaded on this first pitch, and I'm going to rip it. And even Keith Hernandez said this last night. And down the middle comes a 91 mile an hour or whatever the hell it is, a fastball, an off-speed pitch, and it's flat and it's like waist high and it's like got grand slam written all over it. And he watches it. Strike one. Now, you would think, given the struggles that Wheeler was having trying to find the plate, that you would know that he is going to lay one right over the plate because he wants to get ahead of the batter.
Yeah.
So let's swing at that one. No, let's not swing at that one. And then he ends up swinging at an 0-2 pitch where he's not going to throw it over the plate. He's not going to throw it over the plate. So let's swing at I was so irked at that moment that I couldn't wait to turn it off and go back to the range.
My take on Robinson Cano this year is that Buck Showalter is going to give him a little bit of time to show if he's got anything left in the tank post-steroids. Like to see if he, as a clean baseball player, can do anything. And then if he can't, then he's going to be a bench guy who's going to he's going to occasionally DH here or there or whatever, but he's not going to be in the starting lineup every day. That's what I hope. I know he's earned the respect throughout his career, but this start to me it's atrocious. He's in the middle of the lineup.
He hasn't earned anything here. Since he came here.
You're right. Not here. No way. Not with the Mets. Well, he did have one good season. He was like their best hitter in the pandemic season.
Yeah, but then the next season they didn't come back, and the pandemic season was shortened.
Yeah,
I would just say, watching that last night was really that's not really about whether or not he's got bat speed or any of that stuff. That's just about him not really thinking about the game at all. Like the announcers, and last night was Gary and Keith, and we know this as being Met fans. They do a great job setting up the moment, setting up the situation. And they set it up perfectly last night. And there it is, that first one right down the middle, flat meatball, and it should have been parked, at least swung at.
Yeah.
And he let it go, and then ends up swinging at a bad one on 0-2, a slider down and in, and you're like, what? You got to is he thinking?
Oh, maybe he was thinking this guy's struggling to find the plate, and now I'm going to make him throw a strike, which I hate. I hate that. They'll take a strike situation. Might be the best pitch you see the entire at bat.
Well, that is another thing that they say, and that's disheartening. But they won. That's just a little nitpick, and this has also happened, down in Washington, where Buck Showalter gave him an opportunity. He could have pinch hit for him down in Washington and didn't, and he didn't come up with the big hit again. There's certain games, and you'll see them. Where there's 3 or 4 times a game where somebody is in the batter's box where they have a chance really to break the game open. And that's where the superstar usually does come through. And, Robinson is obviously well on the other side of being that superstar, but that just kind of irked me last night early in that game.
I think this is our first must-win Wednesday of the year. That's what I think. First one.
12:30.
Yeah, because you got Scherzer. You want to win 2 series, come back home.
Nola.
You got the whole Tom Seaver statue situation, right, on Friday. This is a must-win Wednesday.
You want to go into Friday on a high.
Yeah, absolutely.
A must-win Wednesday.
I think it is. First one of the year. April, let's start it off. Second series of the year. The first must-win Wednesday.
Hey, winning 2 series on the road in your division, that would be a hell of a way to start the season.
Absolutely. Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.